Hey, what's up everyone? Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye here. We're talking about a 100 megapixel sensor. If you haven't heard, basically in the past couple hours or day or so, whenever you're catching up to this, Phase One and Sony have worked together to create a 100 megapixel sensor. Once again, that's 100 megapixels. Now, this isn't in DSLR form. It is a medium format form, 645 non-cropped CMOS sensor. So this brings 15 stops of dynamic range. And the detail you get with some of these medium format looks, the Mias and all that, all the ones kind of grouped into this category is phenomenal. You know, there was ones for 80 megapixels and everything, but 100 megapixels is basically going to set the benchmark for a new standard. So you're going to get live view through the HDMI, which is kind of seeing what you're right here, so you can see on the back of your camera right there. You're going to get ISO 50 clean to 12,800. You're pretty much not going to use both ends on that. You're probably going to be somewhere in the middle, especially you need good lighting for things like, for cameras like these. It's going to have to up to a 50-minute exposure, which I don't think really there's going to be a point to that because that's not this system. You're not necessarily using it for long exposures, but for the price you're going to pay, which I'll notice that I'll alert you in a second, you probably want to get as much use out of it as you can. Along with its VR tracking and Honeybee system, you are basically paying $490 per pixel. In all, this new camera will essentially cost $49,000. And it's just interesting that Phase One and Sony work together with the sensor. And if you know, there's multiple camera companies and sensors and everything that work together that use these type of cameras. So, Nikon uses Sony sensors as well as other ones. So Sony just doesn't use their own stuff. But the fact that they're, in with this medium format thing with 100 megapixels, I think will tell a tale because with I think it was the A7R II for Sony, they have the 42 megapixels, and then Canon came out with the 50 megapixels. It's been a DSLR market trying to get more megapixels, essentially, in all honesty, as a consumer selling point. Price isn't there for the consumer necessarily, but it is just something where it's like, hey, we got the most pixels, they're trying to be the bigger company. Oh, we got more megapixels, that totally matters. When in reality, it doesn't unless you know what you need them for. So I think that Sony, I made a prediction video that Sony's going to come out with something really good this year. I don't think they're going to have something larger than the 42 megapixels. Maybe they come out with a 50 or 64 megapixel type of camera, but that would be super expensive. You're probably looking at $4,000 or $5,000. It's just interesting that Sony chose to partner up with Phase One. I mean, completely smart on the business end of theirs, but the technology will be there for this Sony mirrorless line of cameras. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do, bringing that back to their mirrorless full frame line. So be on the lookout for that. But what's your reaction to something like this, especially if you are more of a studio type of photographer? Is this something that 100 megapixels is even worth seeing in a DSLR mirrorless type of camera for maybe $6 or $7 grand? Maybe not $50,000, but maybe, under $9 or $7 grand of that sort. Would this be something if you had the money to justify for that, or is 100 megapixels too much? I have the Nikon D800 that I've been messing with, 36 megapixels, and that is more than enough for what I need. The resolution is absolutely stunning, and I've done some great stuff with my Nikon D700 with 12 megapixels, which I also think is pretty much a great benchmark that you can use. So let me know down below, what would you shoot at 100 megapixels with this Phase One XF camera? Just wanted to let you guys and girls know about this. Give me your reactions down below in the comments. Please subscribe for more videos. Give this a quick like just because I like yous. You like me's. Hopefully, I'll stop with that. Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye. Phase One XF 100 megapixel sensor with Sony. About 50K, I'm out.